here that do different things for different cities. That can prepare them for the specific college that they might want to go to. Like somebody want to go to technology, they can go to Miss Thomas, computer lab, where they can work the camera, or learn to.
You know what high school you want to go to?
Probably Digital Harbor or Carver.
Carver Tech.
So you want to do technology?
That's where you go, computers. How about you? What college you want? What high school you want to?
Speak up.
I want to go to Poly or City.
Oh, that's good.
You said Poly City?
Yeah. But yeah, what do y'all see around your like environment that's different? Like, do y'all like it around here?
Yeah, it's cool. Not so much happens anymore.
Why you say it's so different? Because you don't like the program or something?
You can have some more stuff. We got old giant field back there. They already play football and stuff back there, like games and stuff. If they actually made like into an actual football field, like that has a good life, but nobody really uses it. So like nobody put no goalposts up. They just close it. So if they actually did something with it, then you might come by.
So it's just an open field back there.
Right.
It's like that in your neighborhood too? Like where you live at?
Yeah. They got open field, but they got like school owns that part, but nobody does anything with it.
So like if they do more stuff like in the community, then you'll be more involved with it.
Right. Because nobody see nothing they do, nobody gonna do nothing. But if they see something they can possibly do or that they like to see or do, they can probably come outside and do something about it.
So what do kids your age do like instead of go outside, go to the park?
Stay home, Facebook, Instagram all day.
You should, what's it called? I mean, since y'all been here, like, pretty much all through school or whatever, do y'all think that, I mean, like, would you say the school has money to do that, though? Like, does the school have good income?
It's so. They could do certain things, like little things for like this specifically this community, but they can't do like big old things, like taking us on special field trips. They can't do that a whole lot.
So you saying like, you think y'all could like, maybe like get a couple more computers or something,
Yeah.
but y'all can't go get a goalpost in the back of the.
Well, I'm not saying it like that. They can get a goalpost, but like it would take money to get everything specifically set up.
So you pretty much saying like, they can do stuff to help y'all, but I mean y'all want some fun in it too.
Right.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
We already can see behind our building, the middle school building, they have a garden. We started the garden, but we still have to finish it. Now, if we can get the community involved with it, then we can keep that going. And throughout the entire summer, people could come in, get whatever they want: tomatoes, fruit, vegetables, stuff like that.
How many people start coming to the garden?
Not too many. It's basically just the school whoever goes back there. But that's the thing. We tell people about it, but nobody ever goes back there. Maybe if we like added more space into it, probably open the gate.
Concerns the temple service. I said there are 613 commandments. Many of them are not enforced today because we have no temple. One of the major breaks between the early Christians and Judaism was that the Christians' faith that Jesus was the Messiah. And Jews reject that because in our tradition, we believe that when the Messiah comes, the world will change in ways that it has not changed yet. And so we are still awaiting the arrival of the Messiah. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the Torah Jews stood at Mount Sinai. How many people were there? There were probably about 3 million people at the foot of Mount Sinai. There were 600,000 men between the ages of 20 and 60. How do we know that? Because there are passages of the Torah that tell us that from the age of 20 to the age of 60, the men would go out to war, they would be doing temple service, or whatever it was that they were doing. Well, there were younger men and older men, and then there were older women. And then there was the group of non-Jews that went out with the Jews because they saw an opportunity to escape from Egypt. So there were about 3 million people standing at the foot of Mount Sinai. And in our tradition, our belief, God spoke to us. He spoke the 10 Commandments, and then he called Moses up on Mount Sinai and gave us the rest of the Torah. Now, many Jewish sects in the past and some Jewish groups today believe that this Torah, which is the 5 books of Moses, and I have several copies up here, the 5 books, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy, is the written word of God. And we believe that it's word for word what God told us. But we, as Orthodox Jews, also believe that there's an oral law, which was not written down and which was forbidden from being written down, because that's the way God commanded it. And when Moses was up on Mount Sinai for 40 days and 40 nights, he was taught these written laws. And why do we know that? Well, there are hints in the Torah about it. But, for example, it says on the Sabbath, don't do any work. God rested on the 7th day, and so we rest on the 7th day. What's work? Does work mean I can't dig a ditch? Does work mean I can't move a chair? Does work mean I can't light a fire? So our oral tradition tells us what constitutes work. So if I'm in my home and I want to move this chair from here to there, I can do that. It's not work. But if I want to flip a light switch, that is the same as kindling a fire, which is forbidden. So I can't do that. I can't turn a light on or off on the Sabbath because that is considered work. God's definition, one of his definitions of work. Can I put a timer on it and let it go on and off by itself? Yes. But I can't turn it on myself. I can't cook. I can't drive my car. I can't carry in the street unless I have a special situation, which I'm not going to get into. So there are many, many restrictions which are not talked about in the written law, but the oral law tells us how to do it. And we have passages in the Torah that refer to this oral law. Many of the commandments that we have are just hinted at in the Torah because they're made specific in the oral law. I'll give you an example. In Judaism, we have laws of kashrus.
So our topic is Witherspoon.
Okay.
Alright, how long have you lived in Park Heights?
My whole life. Except for when I moved away for 3 years, but then I came back.
So, well, being at a school like this, of this sort, do you think that the income affects the type of education that a person would get rather than, well, like a school here rather than a public school?
So I think it depends on the public school. That public schools that have an affluent population going to the school and they have the tax money from the county or city, they can have excellent public schools with excellent resources and programs and art and music and gym, and they can have the top line education. Like there are public schools that are known to be top of the line. I think when there's a school that's in a neighborhood with poverty and the government funding isn't adequate and like they're understaffed, they're underserved, right? So then the education is not on par. When I was in schools in southern Baltimore, the teachers were just trying to keep the management of the classroom. They were just trying to keep the behavioral problems quiet. And they were struggling so much. They were one teacher with 30 kids and an assistant. And if a kid is acting out, that puts the whole classroom on pause, which means nobody learns. So I think a lot of children in this school didn't have their basic needs met. They were falling asleep. They weren't fed breakfast. They didn't have proper clothing for like the weather. I went to home visits. They didn't have mattresses at home. How could a kid who didn't sleep on a mattress learn in school the next day? Like, it doesn't work, you know? So I think when there's that kind of a challenge and they don't have enough resources and support, and the parents are really trying the best they can. Like, they really, whether it's a single mom or a father or a family together, whatever the situation is, they're trying. They mean well. They want what's best for their children typically, but they can't meet the needs of the child. And then the child doesn't do well educationally, and it's really a struggle for them.
Do you think like they have like the same struggles as like on the Jewish side, like where like because the Jewish families are bigger and
They
like,
are
when
significantly bigger.
So like if they can't like afford the tuition for school, they have the community like raising money for them and stuff like that.
Right. So I think that there's more community organizations than just that. There's organizations that help poor people with financial help, and there's organizations that will send dinner to moms who gave birth, and they'll send high school girls to help out in a family. Like, they'll really help out a family. There's an organization that'll help out widows, giving them financial advice from experts for free. All the stuff is free of charge. So when you look at, like, I was working with a single mom, and she had 4 kids, and she was holding down a job, and she was like, she had such a hard life. Like, it was just so hard just to day get by. If she would have had a high school girl come over, or a guy help over, come and, I'm just thinking in our community it's girls, that's why I said girls, but it really doesn't matter. If someone would come and help her for free in the afternoon with her kids, imagine what her life would look like, just that small change. Like, she'd have an hour to make dinner and do laundry in peace. Like, kids, they're challenging. So I think, like, the lack of resources to support people really prevents people from moving forward, And I think in this community, in the Jewish community, there's a strong infrastructure of resources that help as much as they can, but it's people giving up their time that they're not getting paid for.
So do you think income prevents those resources from being available to some people?
I think it's income, and also it's the community cohesion. So if, like, a community gets together, everybody has strengths and everybody has weaknesses. So if people with the strengths would help people with the weaknesses because they felt either a moral obligation, or they felt a cohesive tie, that they felt responsible for the other people because they're, part of our neighborhood, part of our community. So that creates a stronger community. And when the people then get help and they get stronger, they can turn around and help the next person. Like, it sort of goes around and comes around.
So I feel like that part is more about like the structure rather than the income.
Right, I agree with you, because there's always people that have higher income and always people that have less income. But I think that typically in the Jewish community, it's a double family income, which helps a lot. Meaning both the man and the woman are both working. And I know in my family, like, we're each holding down 2 jobs. Like, I'm working 2 jobs and my husband's working 2 jobs. So when you look at that, like, I'm working around the clock and so is he. So when we work around the clock, we're making a higher income. We also have all the expenses. We have to pay tuition, we have to pay mortgage, we have to pay food, we have to pay, like, we're not getting any help from anybody to pay for things. So I think, like, it ends up being on a spectrum. Like, I wouldn't say that we're rich or wealthy and I can just get whatever I want to get. Like, I don't feel like I'm struggling either. Like, we could pay the bills, but, like, we're just getting by.
So you see the overall difference between the 2 communities?
I think there are so many. I think that, like I said, there are people in every community that are struggling, but I think that the strength is that the people coming together here, and I don't know what it's like, but I didn't see the community when I was in there working and I was helping, and, like, I know we were trying to locate mattresses for this family, and, like, there was nowhere to turn to. Like, there was nobody to go to. And there was all this, like, and the organization that I was working for, Villa Maria Catholic Charities, their hands were tied because they can't get a used mattress to donate. They only could get a brand new one, which is so silly. Because, like, if, let's say someone uses a mattress for a year and it's perfectly in good condition, well, why can't a family have that? But because it's, like, an organization that's official, they couldn't do it. But if there was, like, an unofficial community organization, well, then they could do that. They're not stuck with the rules. They can, like, do things that are okay, but formally you can't do it. You know what I mean?
So do you think income is one of the differences between the two communities?
I think income is a very important piece in the picture, but it's not everything. I'm saying like if somebody isn't making income, then they can't ever get past that because they can't afford to go out to work because the job that they're making doesn't pay enough to pay for daycare for their kids, so it's not worth their time to work. Like I lived in Israel for 3 years. They were going to pay me like the equivalent of like I think like $5 to $7 an hour to work. Once I had 2 kids going into daycare, that doesn't pay for daycare. So I'm going to make $1 an hour. I might as well stay home and take care of my kids. What am I going to do? I can't even buy a slice of pizza with the money. Like it just didn't add up to anything. So I think a lot of people give up without finding work in the community because it's not worth their time to work. Once they have to put their kids in all this daycare and they have to do this and they have to do that, and what money are they making that's going to make it worth their time to work, and then they're going to be disqualified from all the programs. So it's not worth it to be in that middle ground where you don't make enough money to live, but you make too much money to be on programs. That's like the worst place to be at. Like that's like just the worst place to be at. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if you're on the programs, you're getting the food, you're getting the medical, might not be a great place to be at, but they're surviving. But if they don't qualify for that and they don't make enough to afford food and medical, what are they going to do then? So like it's a big jump from one thing, and that's a policy problem. It's a big jump that in order to get off a program system, you have to have a big jump to make enough to make it worth your time to do that. And that's a struggle.
Well, I guess that's all our questions.
All right, cool. Nice to meet you. Go
Nice
back
to meet
with
you.
your
This is the end. Hold your breath and